Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for October 3rd. We're going to take a look at the Euro USD. Now we do have some news announcements that are going to affect this trade, but nonetheless I wanted to show you this trade so you can definitely keep an eye on it. I think it will pay big here in the near future. If you take a look at the Euro USD on the 4-hour time frame, we have somewhat of a trend line, triple top. Depends on what you want to call it, but we have an area of resistance 1, 2, and 3. Somewhat sloped to the downside, not a whole lot. We have this trend line that's forming as well. I do believe if we get a break to the upside, if the news comes out that we could see a buy present itself around 129.60, and that thing just rocket on up right up to here, up to the 130.46 level, grabbing about 100 pips out of this thing as it moves forward with the news. So that's my play for today. Looking for the euro to break out on the news to the upside, buying at 129.60, using a stop loss right around here, right around the 129.10 mark, and then looking for it to move up about 100 pips. Now let's, since we brought up the news, let's go ahead and talk about the news real quick. The news for tomorrow we have at 7 a.m. Eastern, the Bank of England asset purchase targets for October. Consensus on that is that it's held at $375 billion. We also had the Bank of England rate decision. They're showing a potential hold at 0.50%. Then at 7:45 a.m. Eastern, a little bit later in the day, we have the European Central Bank releasing their rate decision for October as well. They're showing a hold at 0.75%. So two rate announcements tomorrow means the market's going to be somewhat quiet until that time. Then we also have the U.S. at 2 p.m. Eastern releasing the Fed minutes from September 13th. From the September 13th FOMC meeting. Of course, the numbers have already been released, so most likely the minutes won't be that big of a deal. But we do have two news announcements early in the session, early in the U.S. session, rather, late in the European, that could push this up and the breakout could occur. Now, let's take a look at the day time frame. Jump over to the U.S.-Japanese yen pair. Let's take a look at what happened today. Pushed higher. Moving higher. I think we're getting close to an area of resistance and a reversal. We are looking for it to potentially go up to 78.81, possibly down to 77.84. Look for some resistance around 78.57, and look for some support around 78.25. Now the Euro USD pair, this pair we have a potential move up to 129.92, possibly moving down to 128.18. Remember that news is going to affect it. Do look for some resistance around 129.75 and look for some support around 128.42. Now the pound US dollar pair, it surged to the downside. Look for it to continue in that direction overall. However, on reversal, it could go as high as 161.91, possibly as low as 159.88. Look for some resistance to the upside around 161.50, and look for some support around 160.50. Now, the U.S. Swiss, this pair is moving somewhat sideways. Did close up during this last session, potentially going as high as 0.9440 during this next session, possibly as low as 0.9313. Look for some resistance to the upside at 0.9405, and look for some support around 0.9325. Well, that pretty much wraps us up for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.